it's recording. I don't know if I would. Okay, I should clap so that I can synchronize maybe the audio and video at some point. I mean,
What's happening? What's happening when It's gonna be super weird to talk with my back at you. So like.
Oh yeah, I should sit there. Yeah.
I think you should be like somewhere like in my visual kind of.
Yeah. No, I just needed a place to put my stuff, but
yeah.
Now I'm here. I think if I'm here, it's not. The angle is not that wide. Is it possible to change it? No. I think it's the widest I can get. No. Okay, put it here and twist it a bit. Right. So, hello.
Hi.
Finally. But please. I don't. Sorry, I didn't want to like disrupt your process, but I'm kind of disrupting your process, anyways.
It's okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Do you like to talk about yourself, or should I ask very specific questions?
Maybe ask specific questions, and we see like whether I have something to add on top of that or not.
Okay, that's great. So, I'm really interested in like how people create, or like process of like. Well, you create like performance pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, how does it start and how does it end? And is it always the same? Do you have different processes? I mean, these kind of like a vague questions.
Mm-hmm.
I can also like make it a bit more granular if you want.
No, it's a good question, and actually, I would love to be more like of a dialogue because
sure.
It's a very good question. I'm curious about your process as well.
Yeah, I can talk about that too. Yeah.
So for me, I sometimes get stuck. I think there is a lot of fear behind the beginning of something, and most of the things that I start working on are kind of becoming real because of collaborations. So I think for me, one of the biggest kind of pull out of this kind of fear zone is to find interesting people and to kind of be inspired by them.
Okay.
But the thing is it's not always happening immediately. I don't know, sometimes I meet people and I think they're doing interesting things, and then I start connecting things in my head and think, okay, how can I make possible a collaboration? I don't know, how do I get an environment, a project, an idea, or how can I combine my skills with the skills of this person.
So maybe it's not always the same, but
mm-hmm.
Does idea come first or the people come first, or is it, it sounded like people come first and then you start shape ideas, but you also have some ideas already, right? That's something you want to work on, or is it something that comes out after you meet?
No, I also have some ideas that I want to work on. Yeah, definitely. I also have ideas that I want to work on. It depends from piece to piece. Yeah. For example, one of the last pieces that I made, which was called "She Brings the Rain." It's a piece that combines Romanian folklore with contemporary dance and with wearable devices. So in a way, it's an idea that I kind of found interesting and I wanted to make it happen. But it also was possible to happen because I had a certain kind of wearable device that was sonifying voice. I knew certain people that were kind of so inspiring in the way they were singing. I was working with this collective called Perperuna, which means also she brings the rain. It's a song from Eastern Europe and the Balkans. And I did have the idea. I did have this interest in kind of rituals and kind of traditions and kind of combining the old with the new. But then I think it's also becoming possible, and the concept changes depending on the affordances of the moments, of the environment,
people, environment, funding,
yeah. Because then, for example, part of this piece was very important part was the costume, and the costume was not originally I mean, it was not done by me, but I had an idea of what I wanted with the costume. Like I knew, for example, that I wanted the face to be covered. Like I'm very interested in this kind of ritual mask. I'm interested in kind of like covered faces, not exposed faces. I think it kind of creates mystery. I'm interested like in this idea of veil as mystery, especially like in connection with women and like femininity. Like the woman comes like in a veil form, like when she gets married or stuff. So like yeah, but also like in this kind of mythological creatures are also like a bit mysterious. So like I was interested in the veil and the covered face. And then I worked with an emerging fashion designer, and like at the beginning, like she came with her own aesthetics and with her own style somehow. But we kept like ping-ponging like and exchanging ideas, because like there were certain things that were not, basically didn't look good on the dancer. Like they just didn't look good. Like, and they tried several iterations of that. And then we had also the problem, like I wanted the dancers to use the wearable, but we had water involved in the ritual, so I didn't want that to get wet. And then like I wanted to bring this kind of like almost like the silicone to cover somehow to cover the circuits as a protective form, and the silicone became part of the costume. And, like it was very beautiful, because like then the designer like also integrated this material in her type of working, and she liked the result. And I think now she's also doing things involving silicone. So yeah.
Oh wow! Because of the project.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, I don't even know. Like I don't think I'm able. I mean, yeah. I'm not able to actualize my ideas too much without other people.
I see. And then you start creating, and I think what's particular in your practice is that, well, now you're soldering, and this involves a lot of like fabrication, like you said about costume as well, but the electronics and software as well, I assume. And I think in like a traditional or like even like contemporary, but like if it's like body based dance creation, it's quite easy to like set the different phases or stages of creation. Even though it's, you know, fluid and so on, you can see that, you know, the progression. But then for you, it's one is that performance happens, but also this development of costume, electronics, software that happens at the same time. And I guess that informs the performance, and performance informs, like you said, about the design.
Yeah.
And how does that work? Like, do you set like goals for, I don't know if you have residencies, or is it more fluid, or how do you plan things? Or do you plan things?
Yeah, I plan things a lot. Yeah. So the reason I'm working with electronics and performance, it's based on my biography. Like I wanted to be a dancer and to be embodied. I think since the very beginning. But then it happened that I'm a product of the society I'm coming from, which was like post-communist Romanian society that was kind of placing a lot of importance on science and technology, and I was very good at math, so like I automatically went on a kind of like science track. For me, computer science never felt like really home, because like I really liked the beauty of mathematics, which I think sometimes like doesn't translate well for me. Like I've never like felt so much at home in computers, but it does translate well in dance. And like when I found dance, that was for me very embodied. And I think my kind of whole kind of creative process is kind of like trying to basically like integrate my biography. Like somehow like I invested a lot of time like I'm born like with this kind of technical mindset or like environment, and I have a lot of knowledge. I kind of, for me, like I really want to unify this with like my desire for dance, with kind of my desire for movement, with my desire for emotions, but also like with more expressive human space where like the worlds are so different. I don't know like what's your experience of that. Like I'm curious to find out, but you know, like I feel that the most beautiful people I've met like are in dance, like really beautiful, and it's like in the sense that I don't know, like it's like it's nice to be there in their presence, like beautiful imagination, like today, like it's just like they take you on their wings and you fly really high, like I don't know, like you just kind of like smile, you are there, like you are present, you are full of love, like they age differently, like it's for me, I don't know, I think dance and performance, like it's super full of soul, in ways that I've never found like in technological spaces. Like I felt very pushed around in technological spaces, to be honest.
Interesting.
So but at the same time, like I do have all this knowledge, so like what do I do with it now? Like,
but in your case, like with your team, is it like more like separate between like technical stuff and performative stuff, or like is it more like mixed? Like, do they work together? Like, so if you're leading, like how do you make this team like organized?
So when I had money, and like it's a good space to be, like to have money, then you can make your dreams happen. And my dream was to bring those people together, like in the same space, to share the same air, and basically to kind of like inspire each other. I loved when I was able to rehearse in a studio and have the creative technology team like being part of the set, and basically like everyone was doing what they were doing, also a little bit like here, but looking at each other, like then kind of informing each other. I even wanted to go more extreme with that, like even like long spaces, long times. Like my dream with Replica was exactly this, like to kind of like put performance at the middle of everything as the soul, and then to have like kind of technology supporting that, like in multiple ways, like, or like inspiring that. So but that being said, it comes like with a lot of problems, like administration, organization, time-wise. I think technology has a different time than human body, and like to come up in a performance, like the process is like so different. Like the needs are different. Like the technical team needs to know in a longer term and in a more stable way what's the plan and what do they need to know, because like to make these things like in flesh and bones, like you need time to develop, like to implement and to kind of solder, so to do whatever. The creative team on performance, they need to work with the body, with the imagination. Like sometimes images dissolve, images form, like it's a lot of improvisation, like ephemeral kind of qualities. But I like to go on a hunt together with everyone, and to find like sometimes when a miracle happens. There are so many times when nothing happens, like in a performance space, like when you bring people together like that, I don't know, like, but sometimes like some things click and some beautiful moments happen, and like it's nice to see when that happens. But
when you say that, like studio creation, like as a research, so it's not like you have this specification of the technical thing, you have the choreography, and you make things happen, but more like exploratory stage that something generates.
I usually prepare a lot for those moments, like because like it's such a big luxury. Like for example, for the performance that I was doing, The Shape of Things to Come, which was like exactly portraying this process I'm telling you about, like bringing the technical team in the same studio space with the performer. Like of course, like we didn't go in the studio without any agenda. Like we did have like a very, like it took me half a year to prepare. Joanna was also part of the process. Like we had so many meetings before that, and like it was like in terms of like, okay, like what are the techniques, embodied techniques, what are the exercises that we do every day, like what are the improvisation, what are the themes, what is the performance about, what we try to do, like what it is, and then like on the technological kind of level, how do you want to kind of like support that, like we're looking for this kind of feminist exploration of like a future society with AI, basically, like but rooted like in a feminist perspective, which was embodied, situated, like more soft technology, like so. And we were thinking there were so many levels to think about that. Like, is the AI we're talking about only like a narrative device? Is this actually the physical device that we are developing? If it's the physical device that we are developing, like is this physical device congruent or like supporting the techniques that we are using in the room? Because like of course like there are certain techniques from theater or from dance that we are drawing upon. It's not random yeah.
Right.
So yeah, there were like many things, and at the end of the day, to be honest, that performance, so that was like happening, the final outcome of that was exactly in the pandemic. We filmed it, and I remember I was telling my collaborators that if this is how, I don't know, like, I was so bored with it. It was like, I just didn't like it. It was just like, it was so much work that went into it with everyone. There were beautiful moments, like there's so many beautiful moments.
Yeah.
And this journey was beautiful. Like I
Yeah.
really like. So I think sometimes it's more important the process than the outcome.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also share like I think I saw like these parts of the video, and I mean maybe boring is it's hard to say from the audience perspective, viewers perspective, but yeah, I can imagine that there are some things that are not captured in the video, or like from the video I cannot get it, so. It's tough, right? I mean, that's why my research is about like how to leave artifacts from the process, and those cards I'm making. That's basically about it. So how can you capture it? Not with video, not. I mean, body memory we have, but how can you express it in a small form factor so that it can be transmitted? Yeah. So sorry, I'm taking your time from the soldering. So
Yeah, no,
I will wrap up, but because this is like last thing I want to ask you, like how does that performance like live after it's done? Like this is like also like a big question for me, and it sounded like it's like with that project specifically, like you had like struggle to like bring these process somehow transmitted afterwards, or like are there like, but you also probably have like writings and so on that can capture some things that can be like can live after the performance is done.
I think the performance was never done like the way I kind of dreamed about it. So like again, like I think it was like it's a big responsibility to have all these people in the room and the resources, and then to kind of come up with that. It's just like, it was not what I still think that we needed more time to fully develop. But yeah, again, like how much time do you still need? I don't know. And the thing that is left out of it, I mean, the device we created, I think it's super interesting. This is what keeps me motivated now, like to go to search for other funding, because I think we did come across like some nuggets of like gold in there, and yeah, this is kind of like from everything that everything that I do is connected to everything I've done before. So like yeah.
Interesting. But that's nice about working with like wearables and devices, so that it can be used or somehow like inform the next performance or creation, and it's tangible. It's really nice. I think that's something I don't do in my practice. Like I don't really. I mean, I make prints, for example, but not electronics. So yeah, interesting to hear your
Yeah.
about your practice, and I'm gonna just shut it.
Yeah. So let's
Well,
see
thank
what the
you.
future brings. Thank you, Nota.